it's recording us. It's recording what I'm saying right now. I'll probably put this on the webpage for your classmates to see. So what I do is go over to my movie and then I press play.
Now you've probably already guessed that George never leaves Bedford Falls.
So what this is allowing me to do
Mary had her baby, a boy.
is talk about what I see. And this is what I want you to do if you're choosing this analysis part. So as you watch the film, your voice, just like mine now, is talking about what's going on. So here, I'll do a little piece for you. George Bailey, we know from our viewing before the break, is feeling trapped. He wants out of Bedford Falls, but he doesn't know how to get out. He marries, he loves his wife, but he's still really unhappy. Their house is falling apart, and here is a symbol of that. So I'm picking an element from our film list. I'm picking the word symbol. When he puts his hand on the banister, the door or the banister knob comes off in his hand. And this to me is a symbol of how he sees his life. Things are not coming together. He feels like he hasn't made enough money to support his family. He feels like things are shabby and not good enough. Not good enough for himself, not good enough for his wife. It's in his head. He's so dissatisfied. You can see that with his furrowed brow. His wife is really happy, but she knows that he is unhappy.
Potter was bearing down hard. Then came a war. Ma Bailey and Mrs.
Images of World War II.
Red Cross and Soul.
Mary, there she is really satisfied in her life. Her husband feels like she isn't because he can't give her a fine house with fine clothes, but she finds joy in giving to other people, and she gets to do that a lot. They have 4 children by now, and she's running the USO, which is the local chapter of helping the United States Army in the war.
But still found time to run the USO. Sam Wainwright made a fortune in plastic hoods for...
Sam Wainwright is the man that we learned earlier was trying to recruit George Bailey for his business. He's made a fortune. George Bailey is going to feel regret because of images like this, where Sam is all slicked back and his suit's really nice, and George Bailey's wearing the same old brown suit.
Potter became head of the draft board. 1A. 1A. Gower and Uncle Billy sold war bonds. Bert the cop was wounded in North Africa, got the Silver Star.
And just some real footage from World War II. Here. So it's an insert shot, not this is active. But what we're about to see when the plane's in the air again is real. Here. Showing planes going down in the war. So it shows you how the film was able to use primary footage to make it more real.
George. 4F on account of his ear, George fought the Battle of Bedford Falls.
George, we learn in the voiceover, couldn't join the war because he has no hearing in one of his ears. He has no hearing in one of his ears because he saved his brother from falling through the ice when they were little boys. But it's another way, we learn from the narrative, from the script, yet another way that George Bailey feels left out and not good enough, as all the other men his age are off fighting for America and for good in the world.
Hold on now. Don't you know there's a war on?
Air raid wardens. Paper drives.
I'm going to go ahead a little bit, and you can do this too. As you analyze, if you want to skip to parts that you think are valuable, I'm asking that you have a full 15 minutes of audio. I'm going to do one last little piece of analysis for you, and it's when George comes home, because I really want you to see what it's like when he comes home to his family. It captures how discouraged he is. Here he is, aggressively pulling on Billy. He's often yelling in this film. He just seems unhappy. Now here he is at home, so let's watch and I'll analyze.
What's the matter?
Nothing's the matter.
What's the matter? His wife knows. He's unhappy. Nothing specific is the matter. Everything is the matter. And you see it here. His son comes over to play with him, and he picks him up and holds him. His wife is helping the kids decorate the tree. He sits, he's not involved. Now look, he gives his son this gripping hug and starts to cry. This, to me, is the face of discouragement. What should be a happy scene? They're decorating the Christmas tree. Everyone's together. There's music playing. And his son is just trying to play with him. His son isn't asking for a deep emotional moment. And he cannot let go. It seems to me here he is in the pits of despair. But why? It's not clear. That's what mental illness does. It comes upon him. And he can't exactly explain to Mary why he is so unhappy. Mary knows, though, as we'll see in this next moment. She turns and looks at him, and immediately looks back again. And the smile leaves her face as she realizes her husband is really struggling. But she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't want to upset the children. That face, to me, is the face of knowledge, that she is aware something is wrong. The little boy keeps trying to play. He's totally oblivious. Mary has stopped smiling, and she's just watching her husband to see what he's going to do next.
Mom said we could stay up till midnight and sing Christmas carols. Can you sing, Daddy? Better hurry and shave.
And I know you all can't see it, but I'm still recording everything I'm saying in a screencast. Now he yells at his children, and Mary comes to push him away to try to give him some space.
Have a hectic day?
Oh, yeah, another big red letter day for the Baileys.
Daddy, the Browns next door have a new car.
You don't need to hear the words to know that he's upset. He keeps turning and yelling at his kids. They're asking sweet questions, innocent questions. Mommy said we could stay up all night. And then he says, "Excuse me, I burped." And his dad's like, "Oh my gosh, kid." Mary is just trying to get him away. All right, so I'm going to pause here
So she didn't button up her coat.
What is this, sore throat?
on this scene
The doctor says it's
The doctor, was the doctor here?
and finish my analysis. So what do you have? Mary is holding this family together right now, which is okay. That sometimes needs to happen. Mary is helping with the kids, putting the Christmas tree up, getting dinner on the table. George, he's lost his investment. I'm more emotionally lost his investment. He's not actually involved. He sits, he watches, he hugs his son, but then doesn't help him when he needs him and has questions. He is disengaged because he has so much weighing him down in his mind. This film goes on with that. The discouragement he feels reaches a fever pitch, reaches its highest point in scenes coming up. And from there, George Bailey has to reckon with his life. He has to face himself and face some of the things that he's done in the world. It's a beautiful film, even though until this point it's been quite sad. It gets happier and happier. I'm going to pause and say my analysis stops here, and now this is my opinion. I love this film. I think mental illness happens invisibly. It often happens in families that seem fine. It happens to people who seem fine. And I think that's really important for all of us to keep in mind. Every person, every human being is entitled to suffering. Nobody has a monopoly on it. And here we see George Bailey, who might seem to have it all together, struggling in a real way. And I think it's an important film for us to watch for that reason alone. But it's also beautiful, which I won't give away. If you watch it, you should do it without me spoiling it. Okay, stopping my analysis. So I have talked now over the film